From conservative Christian values to the often humorous political coverage of a 24/7 news world, influences are plentiful for the digital natives populating today's college campuses. With nomination conventions nearing and November 4th on the horizon, students are taking their first steps into the political arena. What factors will affect them most? We're on the campaign trail to find out. Digital Insight starts now. Hello and welcome to this special edition of Digital Insight. I'm David Studinsky. In the next half hour, we'll examine the dynamics shaping this heated presidential election for a generation of fresh voters. We start by looking at a noticeably large group of students at a crossroad in their lives. While they've devoted their life to their faith, some young Christians are meeting the first critical test of their beliefs at the voting booth. Digital Insight's Brian Handler explains.
When someone speaks of the modern Republican Party, mention of conservative Christians is not far behind. It was this group of voters who delivered the presidency to George W. Bush in both 2000 and 2004. Yet in January 2008, PBS News magazine show Now reported on a major shift in message inside these churches. This, as a greater focus on human rights begins to overshadow classic issues such as gay marriage and abortion. Today we will explore if and how this shift in message within many churches has affected Ball State students here in Muncie, Indiana, specifically their opinions on the 2008 presidential election. We sat down with several Christian students, as well as Chris Sarver, a campus minister and director of Ball State's chapter of Campus Crusade for Christ, to discuss their religion, their politics, and where exactly the two cross paths. Campus Crusades, the largest Christian student organization at Ball State, meets every Thursday at Pruis Auditorium. The event includes musical performances, ministry outreach, guest speakers, and Christian fellowship. Facebook.com puts membership at nearly 654, many of whom have graduated but maintain a relationship to the crew, as it is known as short. Chris Sarver runs the local chapter, and while he maintains his personal beliefs in no way reflect those of the members of the group, he was kind enough to share some of his thoughts on politics and religion and how he views the 2008 presidential election.
My name is Chris Sarver, and I work with an organization called Campus Crusade for Christ. It's what's referred to as a parachurch organization, so it's not a local church or a denomination, but we work broadly within the evangelical community on university campuses here in the United States and around the world.
One of the first things we wanted to address with the students we interviewed was, do they vote, and if they consider themselves politically active and informed? Meet Joe and Lindsay, an undergraduate couple who share a common bond in their spirituality and their politics.
My name is Joe McHugh, and I am a Christian. I'm not really part of like a specific sect or anything like that, so I'd just say Christian.
I'm Lindsay Smith, and non-denominational, I guess, would be if you're looking for a specific denomination.
I haven't voted yet, and I really intend to this time around, but I have not yet.
I'm going to vote this year.
Next, we talked to Elizabeth Meyer, a graduate student in the digital storytelling program, about her many years of political activism framed in Christian fundamentals.
I've voted every opportunity that I've had since I turned voting age. And at this time, I am actually exploring the thought that I will not vote for the first time in my life.
I vote in every general election, and then most municipal or local elections I try to vote, and I would consider myself pretty politically aware.
Abortion and gay marriage have long been hot topics in the Christian community, and consequently, the subjects have guided voters for just as long. Republican candidates have run on these issues since the early days of the Reagan administration. The next question we asked our group of interviewees was whether these classic issues continue to dominate their political discourse, and if they've witnessed a trend towards a greater focus on human rights.
While those issues haven't become unimportant, it's sort of like they have become now one of several other things. And so there's this greater social awareness, and I think that if that trend continues, I'm excited about it.
I didn't really see much of a strong presence of issues like gay marriage being discussed in our church, but I have seen in recent years issues like Darfur.
I think the youth of the day understand a heartfelt need to help others. And I think that need that they feel kind of is the impetus for them to act on things and to then become involved. I have seen a change, a direct shift from people concerned about the issues like abortion or the issues like gay marriage being the dominant thing that they would reference. I think that the younger people are not taking as serious of a look into some of the issues that are on the table yet. They tend to make decisions more on feelings than actually thinking about what would make a difference.
Chris Sarver spends much of his time working with young Christians on the Ball State campus. We asked him, along with the students, if they've noticed a change of dialogue within their peer groups. Interestingly, many students just take a closed-mouthed approach to political dialogue. And Chris tells us politics is one of the issues that local youth just seem to avoid.
I do wonder if the culture in which people in this area are raised in, it's sort of the axiom of there are a few things you don't talk about with friends and relatives. It's money, it's politics, it's religion. And I think that sort of taboo still exists, and I wonder if that is part of the explanation, at least, as to why they're not engaged in these things.
I don't think I've really experienced it in large groups talking about politics, but with one or two friends.
I wish young Christians valued understanding that politics is just another aspect of all of our life. And when we're called to follow Christ, we follow him in every aspect of life. And that means when we're sitting down, when we're sleeping, we're talking to our friends, we talk politics, we talk religion, we talk about everything. And so just even opening up a discussion again on politics, instead of shying away from debate or controversy, understanding that there's a richness to be gained in finding unity on those issues would be a valued thing to add for young people to explore.
At the time of these interviews, Democrat Senator Barack Obama and Republican Senator John McCain led the polls in the 2008 general election. But others were still fighting for votes. For our last question, we asked students to talk about their leanings to that point and to reflect on candidates who have since dropped out.
I like Barack Obama because he's a nice guy, but that's not very much based on important information. He just appears like a good speaker and a nice person.
I consider myself a political independent. There were aspects of Mike Huckabee that I've liked. There are things about Hillary Clinton that I've liked, and there are things about John McCain that I have liked. I'm not sure that any one candidate has fully embraced or reflected all the things that I value and would bring to the table in terms of making a decision for a presidential candidate. I feel like the evangelical community has sort of recognized how they're perceived and have realized that we can't be simply single issue people lockstep with the Republican Party on every issue. But I think a lot of people have realized, hey, all this political activism, all this sort of power broking, we've just become one other player in the cynical game, and it hasn't gotten us what we really, truly want.
Though our findings are somewhat inconclusive, these students provide an interesting look into an active base where religion and politics must balance. Issues such as gay marriage and abortion will continue to guide many of these voters, but in the youth especially, a greater focus on other issues will continue to build in the coming years. If anything, we may soon see candidates responding to this change, and that may be a very good thing for this nation as a whole. When young people take an interest in politics, it represents a shift in an entire generation of voters. This election may inspire a lifetime of political activism in this age group, or it may serve to further disenfranchise this often overlooked voting bloc. We plan to maintain contact with our interviewees as this election season continues, and we'll revisit them in November. For Digital Insight, I'm Brian Handler.
Showdown Coast to Coast continues with Kate Snow at Clinton Campaign Headquarters.
David Wright with the Obama campaign. Ron Claiborne at McCain Campaign Headquarters. John Berman with the Romney campaign. And Jake Tapper with the Huckabee campaign. In Washington, Cody Roberts, George Will, Donna Brazile, and Matthew Down. Cynthia McFadden in Los Angeles. Bianca Golodry gathering online reaction from the Facebook desk. And Jim Avila on the ballot
Watch Desk. This is Super Tuesday. Showdown Coast to Coast. Once again, from ABC News Election Headquarters in New York, Charles Gibson, Diane Sawyer, and George Stephanopoulos.
And those are just some of the people that we have covering this campaign. It sounds like we've got more people covering this than they have people going to caucuses in Montana. But
CBS News has a team of correspondents deployed from coast to coast to bring you the latest returns, reaction, and analysis this Super Tuesday. And joining me here at CBS News election headquarters are Bob Schieffer, our chief Washington correspondent, Jeff Greenfield, our senior political correspondent, Scott Pelley of 60 Minutes, and Anthony Mason, who will be telling us what voters were thinking as they cast their ballots.
Though typically considered a red state, the 2008 presidential election has brought a slumbering Indiana Democratic constituency to its feet. Students enrolled in Indiana universities are among the most coveted this year, or so it would appear. In early April, musicians Dave Matthews and Tim Reynolds played Indiana University's Assembly Hall in support of candidate Barack Obama. Just weeks before, the Clinton campaign dispatched its own youth gathering supporter across the state. After all, who better to speak to students than youth itself? Insert Chelsea Clinton and Digital Insight's own Martin Ryder.
Today at Ball State University, hundreds of students and reporters gathered to see international celebrity Sean Astin, star of such awesome films as Lord of the Rings and Goonies. I talked with a few of them. So how's Sean Astin looking over there?
Pretty good.
How excited are you to see Sean Astin from Goonies today?
I think it'd be interesting. I mean, I watched the movie Woody plenty of times, so I think it'd be interesting.
He's a lot taller than I thought. I mean, he seems smaller in the movies.
Yeah, more like a hobbit.
This must be that movie magic they always use, right?
Right.
So, who are you more excited to see, back of your head? Sean Astin, the star of such films as Lord of the Rings and Goonies, or that girl he's with?
Probably Chelsea Clinton.
Who exactly is she? Is she like his girlfriend or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Celebrity gossip right here at Ball State University. What's up with Sean Astin's wife? Blah, 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 right?
I don't know. I'm just kind of here. I'm not really here for the speech or whatever. I'm just kind of here because this is where I normally hang out.
I know, but wouldn't you rather hear a little more from Sean Astin? I mean, the star of such films as Lord of the Rings, Rudy, Memphis Belle, Goonies.
I don't know. I suppose I'd rather hear from Chelsea Clinton.
Would you want to see a sequel to Goonies? Because he said it's possible, and I know I'm excited.
I don't think I saw the first one, so.
Okay, I think that's enough. Is this a political thing?
I think it is. I mean, they're trying to get political.
I was horribly misinformed when I went on this assignment. I'm sorry. Clearly, there was a lot more of this event than I had assumed. The woman I had thought to be Sean Astin's wife was in fact that Clinton woman who was running for president. I was going to find out more. Hey, so what's going on? We were just wondering if you're going to be voting for Chelsea in the primaries.
No.
Yeah, me neither, right? What do you think about Chelsea's policies as a candidate?
She's not even running, is she? Hillary is.
Okay, why would she be here if she wasn't running for president? At Ball State University, nobody would just send their daughter here. I mean, we're pretty important.
Not to Hillary, I guess.
Not to Hillary. Once again, I was mistaken. For some reason, Hillary Clinton had sent her daughter out to do her dirty work. What other tricks did she have up her sleeve? Earlier, Chelsea mentioned that if her mom was elected, she would end the war yesterday. So what kind of time machine do you think she'll be using to achieve this?
Well, I think what she said, though, it's like with the 6-month thing, it's, you know, we are in Iraq, and there's a lot of work that is being done, and there's a lot of advances that are going on. But I mean, honestly, it's one of those questions where, from the beginning, I just wish to God the Bush administration would just come out and say, okay, we made a mistake, like we screwed up. So right now, it's in a situation of it's a hard thing to pull out, and it will take a little bit of time.
So you don't think she'll be using her time machine to end the war? What do you think she'll use it for? Because if I were her, if I didn't win the election, I'd totally go back in time and win. Not everyone was there in support of Chelsea's mom. So socialism is coming. Are you excited?
No, not at all.
Coming to Ball State? And what date is it coming?
It's already been here, but it's rapidly growing. So
It seems very exciting. Repent. Is it something like Jesus?
No, I'd like to think socialism as the opposite of Jesus. It's pretty bad.
Some people in the audience just weren't willing to talk.
I got another side though.
There's another side. Let's see that.
Yeah, this one was just kind of funny. Oh yeah, 8 years of first lady of a governor, 8 years as a first lady of the U.S. These are her qualifications. She is Laura Bush. I wouldn't vote for Laura Bush. I think a lot of people wouldn't. So why would I vote for Hillary Clinton?
Who is Laura Bush?
President Bush's wife.
President Bush is married. Why'd you make this sign by yourself and bring it here today?
You told me to.
Okay. Rachel, that would be unethical. I just think it's kind of dangerous to have a time machine in her hands. You'd think the government would have it, but it's all Hillary.
Yeah, I don't think so. You know, I don't think that would be a smart thing to have. I mean, I don't know. I'm not quite positive what you mean by the time machine, though.
I think we all learned a lot today, but one very important question remains unanswered. Will there be a Goonies 2? From Digital Insight, Martin Ryder.
Now to Gwen. All right, and Lemmy Shields and Brooks are here. That's Mark Shields and David Brooks. As I said, we do not have, we have, as Stu and Amy have been talking to Judy about this, we have some exit poll results about what the voters said, this and that and whatever, but we don't have any final results in terms of who won, who lost in either the Republican or the Democratic races. In fact, all of the people who call these kinds of things have said both of those races, both the Democratic and the Republican races, are too close to call. It has a smell of something that could go on, you know, up to sometime tomorrow, but we will see. Mark, you were saying something when I interrupted you very rudely. I apologize for that. Now, do you remember what you were saying?
I don't, Jim, but I accept your apology.
Considered Indiana's premier party school in the 90s, the Ball State University of today still presents a noticeable level of apathy toward local politics, athletics, and campus issues. This apathy often extends beyond the local environment and toward the national stage as well. But less than an hour from Ball State sits Earlham College, a private school with a student body less than 2,000 students deep, a far cry from Ball State's 20,000 enrollment figure. Though meek in number, Earlham students are quite vocal about their take on local, state, and national affairs. Proof that size is not always indicative of passion. Here again is Brian Handler.
Earlham College, a private institution in Richmond, Indiana, has a long history of political activism throughout its student body and its faculty. At a mere 47 miles southeast of Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana, students at Earlham take pride in making a voice for the things they believe in. With group activities, on-campus workshops and rallies, and simple word of mouth, Earlham students are making a difference in their communities and the world as a whole. I talked with some Earlham students about their thoughts on the importance of political activism at the college level, what they believe differentiates our two campuses, and what opportunities Ball State students are missing out on.
I think Earlham is a pretty active campus, and a lot of people come here because they want to change the world. They want to do things. Peace and global studies is a really big major on campus. Obviously, it varies from person to person. Not everyone is a social activist, but a lot of people are.
One thing that has been really important to me since coming here is not just having an academic life, but having things in my life where I'm doing stuff in the community or for a cause or something that makes me feel like I'm actually sort of living a life while studying, because it's interesting in college. You can kind of put your life on hold while you're just studying, and so I think it is important to sort of manifest your academic interests into action.
College is a time to try new things
And I think, I know myself, I did plenty of that. I went to 3 different colleges, so it's just a time to see, you're just becoming voting age. You can try involving yourself in the political process. Campaigns come and go. Hopefully there's a presidential campaign during the time you're there, and there certainly is this year. But so you get to try those things out, and maybe your parents are involved or not, and there's a big influence there. But sometimes it's just what other people around you are doing. There's always that community aspect of it.
Well, yeah, I think college is the time to be active. It's the time to really feel like you can change the world and think you can do something about your life. And what's that quote about, if you're not a Democrat when you're 20, you're heartless, and if you're not a Republican when you're 40, you're crazy, something like that.
I think that it definitely is a time to develop that. I mean, most people in college are relatively not tied down. I mean, I know a lot of people do work their way through college, but you also sort of do have the freedom of just being yourself and being young and being able to explore these things and figure out who you are and what you believe and do the research necessary to support that. And then, give your time and whatever it is to issues that you believe in. So.
Well, for one thing, as I think's been said before, Earlham's populated mainly by people from all over the country and all over the world, actually. And so it's less influenced by, being in Indiana, where the climate for political activism isn't exactly prime.
Probably a larger commuting population. So one thing about Earlham that is helpful is it is a community, and you do live here and you study here, and but so it's a little bit more easy to bounce ideas off of people, and it's a little easier to sort of form groups because people don't necessarily have like their own lives outside of school, because that happens, if you're in a city or at a state school or at a big school.
I've always believed that all you can really do in life is try and make your life and other people's lives better, and that's what it's about.
I sort of started the Amnesty Club here, and it's taken off. We have a fair amount of interest. We meet regularly, and we table in the hallway of our student center. We have people sign letters and just about different things, political prisoners and stuff like that. And, I mean, if students at Ball State don't have a lot of time, hopefully there's somebody who feels really passionate about it, and they can set up a program like we have here where it's like, hey, you don't have time, but you want to get some good karma, sign this letter. That's all you have to do. And then we'll let you know if this person's released and you can feel good. Like, that's kind of what it's about.
From Earlham College in Richmond, Indiana, I'm Brian Handler for Digital Insight.
Intervening time, we're going to introduce our team here, the best political team in television, and that is, there's just no hyperbole in that whatsoever.
Well, you know it from watching. CNN's got the best political team on television. Count on the best political team on television.
The best political team on television.
We have our team of correspondents across the nation to bring us the latest from the campaign headquarters around the country. And here in New York, the best political team ever.
And back here, the illustrious Bill Bennett, the inimitable Roland Martin, Jamal Simmons. I'm out of superlatives, and Paul Begala, our good friends. And
in a year when Indiana is a Democratic battleground, Senators Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama are campaigning for Hoosier votes in a way the state hasn't seen in decades. With the Indiana primaries quickly approaching, candidates previously unseen in the crossroads of America are working to collect every vote they can, even if it means visiting Muncie, Indiana.
Hi, my name is John Martin.
And my name is Iris Antonietti, and we are going to take a closer look at Hillary and Obama coming to Muncie.
With the race as close as it is right now, and Indiana not mattering in a primary for the longest time, both candidates are looking for votes from Indiana and decided to tour through Ball State University's campus or around it.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
In general, it can be stated that Obama's event was a little bit bigger because Hillary was at this high school auditorium, and in front of the stage there were maybe 3 to 5 lines of seatings, whereas in Obama's case there were something like 12 to 15, and the standing only area was on the balcony area of Irving Gym. There were much more cameras positioned there than at Hillary's event. In general, I had the feeling that the crowd at Obama's event was a little bit more engaged than at Hillary's event.
Barack Obama's speech brought up several times that he needed Indiana's help, the citizens of Indiana's help, with voting for them. Many times he said about changing the way Washington does its business, and that with people united, working together with him, that they could finally change, in his words, what is going on in Washington.
And so I believed in this election, this was a chance for us to come together. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, young, old. If all of us came together to challenge the special interests that have come to dominate Washington, there'd be no challenge we could not meet, no destiny we could not fulfill.
Hillary was also stressing the bottom-up policy. She was also calling the audience for help and seeing the primary election, seeing it as a hiring situation.
And you ask yourself, who would you hire to do the toughest job in the world? Who would you hire to turn the economy around and get jobs back here in America? Who would you hire to get us to universal health care and to make college affordable?
In Barack Obama's event, he stated that he would like to come back to Muncie sometime soon in a rally-type event different from the smaller town hall meeting to make sure that more people could hear his remarks.
The 2008 is one of the most interesting elections in American history. The question only is, with that neck-to-neck race, are the candidates really interested in rural America, or is it just a hunt for votes? For Digital Insight, Iris Antonietti.
And I'm John Martin.
Republican frontrunner John McCain holds a healthy lead in the state Republican polls and consequently has yet to tour the Hoosier state. Though Indiana maintains a strong conservative voice, McCain's rank in the general election could be altered by the rising Democratic voices here. The youth of this state, and the country for that matter, are the object of affection for all presidential candidates. But with the nomination convention months away, Obama and Clinton have the most to gain. As the election season progresses, we'll continue to follow the influences affecting this generation of voters. Will conservatives alter their votes before their faith? Will the youth of Indiana carry the state to a Democratic president? Though we can speculate, only time will give us a clear view of what this election cycle means to America. And for the candidates, that time will all too quickly run short. For everyone here at Digital Insight, I'm David Studinsky. Thanks for watching.